Hello and welcome to Good Games Spawn Point, the show for gamers by gamers. I'm Barjo.
And I'm Hex.
And I am Darren. Oh, Barjo, Hex. This week is National Science Week, Australia's annual nationwide celebration of science and technology.
Yeah, we know, Darren. That's why we've put together a show that looks at everything from out of space to deep in the ocean.
That's right, Hex. We're going to review a game called Defect, which is all about spaceship building.
Oh, space.
And we'll get up close and personal with the abundant sea life of Abzu.
Now, how about I test your knowledge with a brand new Darren's Challenge? Today I'm asking you this. What travels 4 times faster in water than it does through air? Answer at the end of the show.
Oh, an actual science question, Darren.
Tricky. Well, as Goose is still away on holidays, shall I go do the gaming picks again?
Oh, me! Pick me! Me.
I believe it's my turn to do the gaming picks, and we're gonna do this properly.
Apparently didn't do it properly last week.
Affirmative.
Accurate, but still.
Affirmative.
This week on Spawn Point Action Weekly News, Fireforge files for bankruptcy, more allegations of noobery against Barjo, and a new Professor Layton game heading our way. Hello, I'm Hex, bringing you the most important gaming news in the country. The developer of the recent Ghostbusters game, Fireforge Games, has filed for bankruptcy. Fireforge has managed to accrue over 15 million Australian dollars of debt following a string of uncompleted and undelivered projects, forcing the developer to liquidate their assets. Gaming website Kotaku also reported that a source revealed their negatively received Ghostbusters game was in fact created in only 8 months. No wonder it was terrible. Now to... Excuse me, we just have some breaking news. This is new information of noob accusations against Barjo. We cross live now to studio. Barjo, can you confirm these allegations as to whether you are in fact really a noob?
Well, actually, Hex, I am not the noob, but I do have the noob with me right now here in the studio. Darren, how does it feel to be a noob?
Oh dear, it looks like we're about to lose the satellite, Hex.
Sorry, it appears we've lost the satellite connection there, but it sounds like noob talk to me. Moving on to more pressing headlines. Professor Layton developer Level 5 has announced a new game in the series and a new protagonist. Yes, the Professor is out, but his daughter, Lady Layton, is in. The new title, Lady Layton, The Millionaire Ariadone's Conspiracy, will launch on 3DS and mobile devices in Western countries sometime next year. And now to Darren with the gaming forecast. Darren, I expect it'll be raining cats and Pokemon all weekend.
You know it, Hex. Looking at the gaming radar, we can see that there's going to be high levels of gaming activity coming in through the country's east, spreading out over to the west as the day progresses. Throughout the week, these high-pressure gaming activities will likely continue, thanks to the recent release of big games like No Man's Sky and the continued high levels of interest in Pokemon Go. Don't forget your umbrella. Back to you, Hex.
Thanks, Darren. Looks like a great weekend for gaming ahead.
Affirmative.
And to take us out today, our feel-good story of the week comes from mashup artist Insane Cherry, who put together these adorable animals performing the Pokemon theme. Gotta bark them all indeed. And that's the latest from Spawn News. Thanks for watching. I'm Hex, and stay with us for reviews and more coming up next.
Reports still coming in that Darren is still a noob.
Breaking news. Barjo is a noob. Hashtag the Jube.
Great job, Hex.
Thanks.
Very professional.
Well, now it's time to build some spaceships and fight off traitorous mutineers in Defect.
Oh, well done. Defect is an Australian-made game about building and designing your own spacecraft and taking it into battle in top-down 2D twin-stick style combat. The twist is at the end of every mission, your crew will defect and steal your ship, forcing you to fight against them at the end of the next mission.
You think you'd learn to stop hiring Space David Bowie after he stole your ship again and again and again?
I thought the whole defecting thing was a clever idea, though. It just forces you to think more carefully about how you build your ship. You never want it to be too good, or else you're going to have a tough time taking it on in the next mission. But then it gives you that little bit of incentive to try and build a better ship every time.
Affirmative. And I enjoyed that missions all seem to throw wildly different objectives at you, meaning you'll need very different ship designs to tackle each one. You can't ever come up with a generic design that works for everything.
That's right, and it doesn't mean there's a lot of trial and error in each mission to get a feel for what kind of ship will do the job. Mission descriptions often give you a hint about what kind of ship you'll need, but I would have liked it if they gave you some recommended stats for you to try and design your ship around. Even so, it was always fun tweaking designs and going in for another run.
It is a hard game, though. We played this on normal difficulty and it bordered on being quite frustrating, so definitely switch to easy if you find you're struggling. Early on especially, you'll find your ship can be taken out by a lot of things in one hit. It sucks when you've almost got through a mission only to be taken out by one missile or the exploding wreckage of another ship. But even so, it rarely felt unfair to me. I mean, after all, you only have your own design to blame.
Affirmative. When you're designing your ship, you need to have a power core that provides all the power for your ship's systems and crew compartments to hold crew. Then every part you add, like weapons and engines, will take a chunk of power, crew, or both to work, and finding the right balance is quite challenging. You'll also be given new and better parts after each mission, so sometimes you may need to complete easier missions before you'll have enough good parts to progress.
One thing I thought was weird is that the craft needs wings to help with stability and handling. Do spaceships even need wings?
Yeah, I mean, that's fair enough, but I don't think hard science is really what they were going for here. I mean, your assistant is a talking digital seagull in a spacesuit.
Definitely, this is a far cry from a rocket science simulator like Kerbal Space Program. Here you can just whack parts together, and as long as it's all touching and fits within your crew and power budget, you're good to go.
And there are loads of parts that will let you recreate just about any famous spaceship you can think of. But what did you think of the actual combat?
Well, it's pretty simple too. You more or less just have to steer, and most of your weapons auto-fire once enemies are in range. You can take manual control of the weapons though, if you want to.
The direct control idea is interesting, since you can directly control any part of your ship, which will give you bonuses. Controlling engines will speed you up, or wings will improve steering, for example. And choosing the right systems to control at the right time adds a nice layer of tactical thinking to what would otherwise be a fairly basic shooter.
Outside of the campaign, there's also a challenge mode, which lets you face off against your friends' ships, fight in a survival wave mode, or take on campaign missions with no spending limit.
Yeah, it's a fun extra. It gives you something else to mess around in. Now, Darren, normally when we have a game like this where you can go and build things, you always make some massive version of yourself. But this time, the developers beat you to the punch, didn't they?
Affirmative. They tweeted this excellent screenshot at me a little while ago. I don't think I could have made a better likeness of myself if I tried.
Did you try though?
Affirmative. Behold, Battle Station Darren!
Well, we should wrap this up, guys. Final thoughts?
Well, I love the defecting idea, and even though the combat and the building is quite simple, the gameplay is challenging. I'm giving it 3.5 out of 5 rubber chickens.
Yeah, it's not the most technical game in the world, but I still really enjoyed it. I'm giving it 3.5 as well.
And now it's time to meet a young aerospace engineer who's helping spawnlings conduct science experiments in space! Roll the tape, Lee.
I'm Solange Kuhner. I'm the co-founder and CEO of CubeRider. We've put together the space program that people run in schools and send the student experiments up to the International Space Station. So myself and my co-founder are both, the 5-year-olds who wanted to be astronauts. We met interning at another space company in Sydney and tried to figure out a way that we could get everyone else involved in space and show them how cool and awesome it is.
This is a STEM project created by that young lady, and she has given us a piece of technology that we can use.
When a school's part of our program, at the start of the semester we send out hardware, which is a sensor module run with a Raspberry Pi, and that's what they're learning to code on. And we give them all of the content online and talk to them throughout the semester as well. And then about 3/4 of the way through, we get them to submit their final space experiment.
For our particular experiment, if we're going to look at time dilation, can we do a test in space of the time, simultaneously perform it down here, and if we can do that and then notice any differences, then we can show it would be time dilation.
So we're sending up the first payload in November to the International Space Station. So it's very exciting. The rocket will go up and connect up with the space station, and then astronauts will unpack it and get it all ready and follow our instructions, and then start running all the experiments. And then a couple of times a week, all of the results will get beamed down and then passed on to all the students who collected it. Well, you're the coder here, right?
Yeah.
We can figure this out. Having a pretty specific problem and having it based around space, it means that there's a real goal that you're working towards. Instead of learning about coding and space and science out of a textbook, you're learning it in the context of a real life application. Students get to work with real space missions and interact with, something that's actually in space.
So we possibly need some astronauts' help, you're thinking?
One of the most touching things, though, is seeing the teachers' reactions to it. At the end of the day, the teachers have the biggest effect on the students. And so seeing how excited the teachers are getting about sending something to space, that's really wonderful.
Just how high is it at the moment? Can you tell from that?
405 kilometres above sea level.
Having a fundamental understanding of programming and code is always going to be necessary, and it's becoming more and more important. Some of them might end up making games, video games and things like that. We've gotten a whole bunch of kids really excited about coding, and so now they're looking for the next thing.
Okay, let's use the power of science to answer a few of these questions. And we'll kick things off with this one from Confused, who is from somewhere in New South Wales.
Confused about where he is.
Yeah, I was about to say,
Yeah.
no wonder.
Get a better name.
Get a map. Is Yoshi a boy or a girl? You guys keep referring to Yoshi as a he, but he can lay eggs, so he must be a she.
That is a noodle scratcher hex. Yoshi or Yohi? I always just figured Yoshi was a he. Just the design and voice always struck me as more masculine than feminine.
Yeah, but I don't think there are any male species of animal that can lay eggs, so maybe he is a she.
Hang on a sec, can't male seahorses lay eggs? Maybe Yoshi is some sort of land seahorse.
No, I'm pretty sure female seahorses just give males the eggs, but males do get pregnant and hatch them.
Whoa! Maybe Darren can answer this. Let me get him on the blower.
Hello.
Hey Darren, how's it going?
Oh, hello, Barjo. How can I help you today?
Well, the spawnling here was wondering why we say Yoshi is a he when he or she lays eggs.
Well, according to various sources within the Mario universe, Yoshi is technically speaking neither a he nor a she, and can produce eggs without needing a partner. But Yoshi does prefer to be called a he.
Well, what do you base that on, Darren?
Well, in the Japanese version of Super Smash Bros. Melee, the trophy description of Yoshi states that Yoshi is neither male nor female, and that it can lay eggs without a mate. However, in translation from Japanese, Yoshi is consistently referred to with masculine pronouns, so he is likely considered to be more of a male character than a female one.
Oh, that's interesting, Darren.
Oh, but wait, there's more. There are, in fact, several secret conversations in recent Smash Brothers games that cover this exact topic. Take this conversation from Snake in Super Smash Brothers Brawl.
It lays eggs and throws them right, then it must be female.
Actually, it's a he. At least, that's what it says.
It talks.
And of course, Yoshi is a boy's name, so there you have it. Yoshi is a he, but also isn't technically a male.
Well, that's definitely confusing, but I guess it answers the question. Thanks, Darren.
Oh, anytime. Goodbye.
Bye.
All right, let's move on to this one from Spooderman, who is in Spooder Town, Western Australia. Hey, I was questioning that in Pokemon Go, if there was any way to tell what Eevee evolution you will get from an Eevee. If not, is there a way to choose what it evolves into? Also, is there any secret Easter eggs in Pokemon you could point out? Thanks. Your friendly household Spooderman signing out.
Well, Spooderman, there is actually a super simple way to force the game to do exactly the evolution you want. All you have to do is rename the Eevee you want to evolve.
Yeah, so to get Vaporeon, call your Eevee Rainer. To get Flareon, call it Pyro. And to get Jolteon, call it Sparky. Then, when you evolve that renamed Eevee, you should get the evolution that you want.
As for other Easter eggs, well, there's one you can get right at the start of the game. Basically, when you've got to choose between the 3 starter Pokemon to catch, you can actually find a 4th.
Yes, when you see Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle, just walk away from them. Then, after a while, they'll spawn again in front of you. Then, walk away from them again. Do that a few more times and you'll find that a Pikachu will show up.
Whoa! Those are the only Easter eggs we know of at the moment, though. But if any of you out there have spotted any other little secrets, be sure to let us know.
Okay, well, now let's move on to this one from Ewan, who is in Forbes, New South Wales.
In Minecraft, PlayStation, and Xbox, why does only Wii U get the Super Mario Mashup Pack? Please answer! P.S. What would be more useful, an Xbox One S or a Xbox One? Please answer both!
Well, that's just the age-old issue of exclusivity and licensing deals. Basically, each platform, so Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo, each has its own exclusive games and franchises that only appear on their consoles.
That's right, and Mario is, of course, a huge Nintendo exclusive, which is why the Mario Mashup Pack isn't on Xbox or PlayStation.
But Xbox and PlayStation each have their own exclusive mashup packs too. Xbox gets the Halo pack, while PlayStation gets the Little Big Planet pack. I mean, in an ideal world, every console would get to play every game and all franchises could live happily together on all of the consoles, but sadly that's just not the world we live in.
Maybe one day, Hex. Maybe one day. As for what would be more useful out of an Xbox One S or a standard Xbox One, well, they're more or less identical, really. The S is smaller, though. Let me show you. Here it is. It is 40% smaller, in fact, hence the name S, which I think stands for either small or slim. It can also play 4K video content, so if you have a 4K TV, then the S is slightly more useful in that respect.
It also comes with a slightly redesigned controller, which has Bluetooth support in it, which can be useful for easily connecting it to other laptops or devices without needing a dongle.
Indeed, although the standard Xbox One is bigger, so if you needed a big, heavy, flat weight to put on something, like you wanted to flatten out a poster, or maybe you just want to do some lifts or squats with it, then the standard Xbox One would be better at that.
Why would anyone want to use their console as a weight or do lifts or squats with it?
I don't know, Hex, I'm just trying to get all the angles, you know. I'm just saying someone might find it more useful. For that, it could happen.
I mean, that seems like a really unlikely scenario.
I'm just saying, you know, how useful a console is depends on what you want to use it for.
I mean, I guess mine serves as a cat bed sometimes. My cat likes to sleep on it, although it gets hair inside there and it sometimes overheats, so don't let your cat sleep on your consoles. I'm pretty sure most people just use them for playing games on, typically, Barjo.
Well, maybe they're missing out. Could be a whole world of console uses going to waste. Maybe you could use them as a little table, or perhaps put some wheels on them and turn them into little skateboards.
No one should do anything like that with their consoles. Just leave them plugged into the TV where they belong. On that note, we're out of time for this week. If you'd like to ask us something, then you can go here and send it in.
Hat.
No. Honestly, you and your hats. Great questions. Okay, guys, it's time to dive down to uncover the secrets of the deep in Abzu.
Abzu is from a new studio called Giant Squid, and from the mind of art director Matt Nava, who also worked on the games Journey and Flower.
And while this game isn't about surfing the sand dunes or floating as the wind, the connections with those games are still easy to make.
Yeah, the art style and design is instantly familiar. You take control of a small figure, in this case a diver, who seeks to explore the ocean and its inhabitants. Each new cavernous chamber you visit is absolutely breathtaking, and the whole time you're surrounded by all sorts of sea life. It's totally mesmerizing.
Yeah, it's magical, isn't it? Just swimming around and exploring, I loved being able to grab hold and ride along with larger fish or turtles and dolphins. Even whales.
Ah, the whales. There's something particularly moving about swimming alongside such majestic and peaceful creatures, even if it is just in a game.
Abzu has another similarity to the game Journey in that there's more to this colourful environment than immediately meets the eye. As you explore, you start to uncover the remnants of a strange, ancient civilization.
And there's that feeling of something darker lurking there, and that just makes you want to delve further and further.
I love the concept of a lost, sunken city deep under the ocean just waiting to be discovered. I mean, there's something already so alien about deep ocean life with its strange bioluminescent creatures. But ancient civilizations too? Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, the whole thing reminded me a lot of Disney's Fantasia.
Oh yeah, I can see that. Beautiful, but a little bit scary too.
It could be interpreted that the game has a subtle environmental message. The abundant sea life around you is made to feel ever so fragile, especially as you come into contact with something more sinister that threatens their peaceful existence.
Great observation, Darren, and it does make you think about how vulnerable an ecosystem like that really is.
This is one of those games that doesn't take long to complete and is maybe even best played through in one sitting. When you see it through from beginning to end without interruption, it can have quite an emotional impact on you. And, you know, I remember with Journey it was the same.
Yeah, and it's just the right length to be able to do that too. I'm not sure if this is as powerful as Journey, but it will still make you think.
Yeah, you know, I think with Journey the real revelation was that interaction you had with another online player. Here it's very much a solo experience, it's just you and the ocean. But that is still powerful in its own right.
Oh, especially when you catch a glimpse of a great white shark. Jaws.
For me, it was when I swam into this tornado-like school of fish. All right, what are you giving it, Bajo?
You know, guys, I'm not normally a fan of underwater games, but this has turned me right around, and I think it is a must-play. 4.5 out of 5 rubber chickens.
Yeah, I agree, Abzu is breathtaking. I'm giving it 4.5 out of 5 as well. Well, Darren, we are perilously close to the end of the show. Can we have the answer to your challenge, please?
Indeed. At the start of the show, I asked you this. What travels 4 times faster in water than it does through air? And the answer is... sound!
Whoa! Wait, so sound travels faster underwater than it does through the air?
Affirmative. Because the molecules in water are more densely packed than the molecules in air, vibrations travel faster.
Oh, that's fascinating, Darren. Hey, I like these non-gaming questions. How about a food one for next week? Because we are going to be cooking up a storm.
Yes, it's a food in games special with reviews of Overcooked, and Ninja Pizza Girl.
I might also show you a few of my own personal gaming snack recipes.
All right, Darren, but as long as you don't make any of those oil smoothies like you did that time, because they are not fit for human consumption.
Yeah, you have to promise to cook only with stuff that you find in the office fridge.
Oh, all right, if you insist.
Awesome. Well, until next time, may all your games be good ones. Hex out.
Bajo out.
Darren